Hi Scorpio, welcome to your reading for August 2019. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please join me here while I'm shuffling with all of your presence. Tune in to the deck, tune into your higher self. Ask your higher self to connect to my higher self so that we can create a feedback loop. That way the messages that come through here today will be tailored especially for you. Really is worth it to take a moment to do that little visualization. If you do, you'll be more or less getting a private reading from me, as it really will be very clear and vivid messages that are for you especially. So tune in, set aside any other distractions or tasks that you may have going on, put some headphones in, hit pause and grab a cup of tea if you like, and join me here to see what's going on for you for this month, for the August month, and see what energies are available and how to work with them. Okay, Tower, crossed by the Two of Cups, Ten of Pentacles, Ace of Swords, Okay. Scorpio, it really does feel like this is a big month for you and that there is some changes afoot. Some things may be happening quite suddenly that you didn't see coming. Not to frighten you, because I do feel like this energy is actually one that is helping to create a realignment for you. If you may have kind of, if you may have either with your awareness or not aware, you may have strayed a little bit from your course over the last couple of months. And I feel there's an energy here that's bringing you back into an alignment, like course correction for you with this energy of these cards here. You have death at the bottom of the deck, which is your own card, but again, it's an energy bringing a kind of transformation and change. Having this Tower card here at the center of the reading, crossed by the Two of Cups, and then in this quadrant, which is how you see yourself right now, there's this Eight of Wands paired with the Ace of Cups in reverse. So how I'm feeling this is that this experience could be something kind of sudden, unexpected, and radical. For some of you, it may be shocking. But in general, I would say the energy to kind of bring to the situation is one of calm composure and adaptability. That's what's needed in this situation, is adaptability. Because while you may not have necessarily been aware that this kind of change was coming, it does, as I said, feel like a realignment that's helping you correct your course if you may have strayed off into different directions that maybe weren't totally your work, your alignment. And what I feel is here as well is that there's some people around. You have these two knights in the reading at the top of the spread. There's this Page of Swords here. There's also this Seven of Swords here in the position of the recent past, and it's coming through the reading to this Six of Swords. So this feels to me like, again, there is some beneficial energy around you, like the universe of forces are at play that are helping to kind of bring you back into a better alignment and help you to kind of move away from circumstances or situations or people that may not be a good fit for you or a good match. That's what I feel with this Seven of Swords. For some of you, that could be a person around you who maybe has been a little dishonest or outright like stealing from you. It's a spectrum there. That may not apply to everyone, but coming out here at the Six of Swords here in this outcome position is telling me that while this may be a troubling situation, it may be a difficult time, it could be, as I said, a shocking event or something really unexpected. The energy of it is actually kind of activating a movement for you that's bringing you into a better place, into a better situation. So, as I said, it's important to maintain adaptability and to maintain a calm composure and kind of move as gracefully as you can as the circumstances are shifting and changing in your environment, so that you can make your way through this situation with as much grace and as much poise as possible. For some of you, this may be exactly a relationship reading, and one which is speaking about potentially a breakup, being that the Two of Cups is the crossing card here. And what I feel with that is, and you also have this Ace of Cups in reverse with the Eight of Wands in this position here. And the crowning card is this Ten of Pentacles in reverse. So this to me speaks pretty clearly about, it could be a sudden breakup, something unexpected. But again, this Eight of Wands here in the upright position is telling me that communication is quick and it's clear. And while it may be, as I said, a shocking occurrence, that in the sense that you may not have seen it coming, or it's maybe if there is some suspicion, like if you do suspect that your relationship could be transforming in status. I'm not going to say breakup because I don't necessarily feel like this is actually a permanent breakup or ending of a situation. I feel that there is a need here for elements of a relationship to catalyze and transform, and that's what the Tower card is bringing. Doesn't necessarily mean a breakup, but it does. I do feel here with there's also this Ace of Swords at the foundation of the reading in reverse, and these two aces are here in reverse, with this Eight of Wands here. I feel that there are elements in a dynamic with another person that really need to be addressed. There's some, I'm hearing, inconsistencies. And I don't want you to put all of this energy onto the other person. These are topics that you need to address for yourself as well, because what I'm seeing here is that there is not a match here. I mean, let me say that another way. With you and a partner, whether it's a business partner or a romantic partner, there are some issues that need to be addressed. And it's this Tower moment that's bringing a sudden, unexpected, maybe shocking revelation to the situation that is actually much needed to help catalyze and strip back circumstances to actually reveal truths that are buried within and hidden within. And at the moment, I feel that there is some elements here with these Swords cards and even these two Aces in reverse, where there is a need for raw honesty to be placed as a priority in this circumstance. So while there may have been kind of a little bit of tiptoeing around on eggshells in some circumstances, or even in some other examples, a complete avoidance of any kind of confrontation, that energy has created a build-up of energy that is possibly what could be generating this Tower moment here, because there has been so much unspoken. Maybe there's been a lot of issues that on both sides of the table individuals have been feeling, but with a lack of opportunity or space to kind of bring those things out into the open, there is this kind of building up of those events or those issues or those emotions, those grievances, those problems, those concerns, those worries, right? If there hasn't been, for whatever reason, space for those kinds of communications to be aired and to be shared, then there is this buildup of tension that's now here waiting to be catalyzed, to move, so that this shift can occur here. And as I said, it's one that's well needed. And while there is these reversals here in the reading that kind of express a sense of, I'm hearing timeliness, actually. Clearly this is not an easy time. It's not a comfortable energy that I'm feeling from these cards, but one that is much, like there's definitely a need for communication. There's definitely been avoidance of communication, avoidance of confrontation on some levels, but there's also been an inability. I think some people have been wanting to share and communicate, but either they haven't felt like there's an opening for them to do so, either you've been shut down to it and not open, or if there's been examples in the past where, for let's say, maybe you or the other person has tried to share something that they're feeling and they're experiencing, and the conversation may have, turned into an all-out fight. Then maybe that person has lost confidence and lost a bit of trust and lost the ability to actually feel like it's safe for them to come to you and communicate. And this could go both ways, of course. So that's some of the energy here that I'm feeling that really needs to be addressed, is like creating a safe and open space for listening and hearing to happen, Because I feel that that's part of what's causing this buildup of energy that is now has reached a tipping point where it cannot be restrained any longer, and that's the Tower card is bringing here. There's like a energy of a massive need for energy to be released because it's been held back for so long. And then this Ten of Pentacles at the Crowning card, again, this kind of, as I said, relates to this family. Someone came to the door there, so apologies for the distraction. But here we are. I was saying with this Ten of Pentacles in reverse, it's connected to this Two of Cups reversed also, as well as this Six of Swords, in that there could be between you and a partner, either a romantic partner or a business partner, a little dissonance that could cause a separation and a moving away. But as I said, I don't necessarily see that this is a permanent thing. I feel that this is a temporary action. It could lead to a permanent thing if the individuals involved cannot compromise and adapt and listen to each other and actually communicate clearly all of the issues so that it can be resolved. It could lead to a permanent situation. But there is potential here for communication and understanding. If people bring that energy of compassion and kindness and the willingness to listen to the table, there can be a kind of almost divine kind of resolution to the situation. But it's going to require people to put effort and the ability to, the willingness to listen and to really be receptive to what another person has to say. Because as I said, here I can see that there has been an inability to communicate, that there has been avoiding confrontation, but there's also been a desire to communicate, but an inability to do so because the energy has been blocked. There hasn't been an openness. So it's time to really adapt to the circumstances, be graceful, be as willing to compromise and be compassionate in a situation. I don't mean compromise your values. I just mean be willing to put down your stubbornness and your the fixed way that you may be perceiving a situation, to actually be available to change and to be able to be available to the possibility of changing your mind and changing the way you feel about a situation by being able to perceive it from a different perspective based on the communication that someone brings to you. I hope this is making sense. Now, I didn't really talk about this Hierophant and Page of Swords here. Hierophant is in reverse, Page of Swords is upright. This, I feel, is also connected to this, relationship dynamic thing of separation and difficulty in communication. The Hierophant in reverse here is telling me that agreements that may have been made are up in the air, and that there is a need to communicate about those agreements and restore or find a new common ground where you can meet a person in a way that it enables a connection to flourish, but that also is kind of like what I'm feeling with this is that the position that you were in and that the position that the other person was in at the time when those agreements were made is quite some time in the past. And where you are now compared to where you were then when you made that initial agreement is entirely different. You've changed a lot and this other person has changed a lot. So this is saying to me that there is a need to renegotiate. That's basically what this energy is. It's a renegotiation. Because what you may have promised before, you may not be able to fulfill now. And same with the other person. What they promised to you before or what they committed to before, they may not be able to fulfill now because they've changed, situations have changed, times have gone by, circumstances are different. Things may have gone awry, and that's because this energy of renegotiation has not been allowed to happen yet. There hasn't been any permission given for things to be able to change because there's been too much fixed energy, stonewalling, and a lack of ability to communicate and share ideas. So strive to become more open and receptive to what other people have to say to you, but also be willing to communicate things that are difficult to say. That's what I'm feeling with this spread in general. It's about overcoming your fear of being rejected as a result of the things that you want to communicate. But because of that energy, you may also rejecting someone before they've even had the chance to share with you what's on their mind. So openness is required here. Now, finally, I feel like this is the quadrant I haven't really addressed yet. It's quite important. This is the hopes and fears. So we have the Knight of Wands in the upright position with the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. So this is telling me that the main issue here, or what's really important, is the ability to be independent and have the Nine of Pentacles in the reverse position is telling me that there is a lack of self-esteem, a lack of self-worth, and a lack of like a feeling of deserving. So you may not feel deserving. This is telling me that your self-esteem and your self-confidence may be a little tarnished or bruised or non-existent for some of you. And what this is saying to me is that that is actually the foundation of everything that you need to focus on to right this environment, correct this dynamic with this other person. Is focus on yourself, focus on how to build and cultivate self-love, self-confidence, self-esteem. And from that place, all of the issues that you're facing can be approached and can be dealt with from a place of having a trust, trusting yourself, having enough self-love to know that you can share what you need to share, and if it's received or not received, that doesn't affect the way you feel about yourself. Like if someone is if there is this feeling of being rejected, if you have self-love and self-confidence, that kind of experience doesn't need to offend you or hurt your feelings, because you can understand it from the place of it just not being a vibrational match, right? So important. I think one of the most important things in this reading is to say, cultivate practices daily of self-love, of self-confidence, of self-esteem, of self-worth, of self-value, self-care, self-nurturing. And from that place, whatever issues that you may be facing in your relationships can be met with dignity and respect, and can be managed and handled. Regardless of the outcome, it doesn't have to affect the way you feel about yourself. If you don't get what you want, or if you don't feel like another person is seeing you the way you want to be seen, if you see yourself that way, if you see yourself with love and respect and dignity and compassion, the rest doesn't matter. Bottom of the deck, Death in reverse. King of Wands in reverse, Three of Wands and Three of Cups. Three of Wands, Three of Cups. That's telling me that this shift that's occurring here, this transformation that's occurring, it's quite a big one. I feel that this is a really big, very dynamic experience that you're going through now, and one that has the potential to really completely change the landscape of your life if you can manage to rise up to meet the opportunity that you're facing here with all these energies that are available. So it's going to give you the opportunity to really cut through and strip away those places where self-esteem has been an issue, where self-confidence has been an issue, and you will be able to kind of turn on the fire within you to kind of find more passion, more compassion, more enthusiasm for the journey of life, for the human experience. And these two threes here, Three of Wands, Three of Cups, this is telling me that you are needing to understand that this is a long-term project. Like you as a person, like this is about you crafting yourself. This is about the cultivation of your personality, of your experience in life through the lens of your specific vibration. And that's a long-term project. That's like a lifelong project. And it's one that can be a very joyful experience if you approach it from the right perspective of it being a creative endeavor and being an art form to kind of develop and cultivate your personality in a way that improves the quality of your experience, and therefore it improves the quality of experience for people that you come in contact with. So I would say undertake this willingly, even though it may be uncomfortable right now. Like there's a lot of rewards waiting for you if you can kind of knuckle down to this energy and really see it for what it is, and make sure that you own all the responsibility for the way you feel, for your experience. And don't try to throw off any of your emotional energy onto other people and project it onto other people, because that's not fair and it's not correct. You need to adapt and adjust your energy and maintain a space of receptivity. If you're coming in contact with people that need to be heard by you, if there's a need for communication. You need to maintain a space of openness to actually be able to provide the opportunity for that person to be heard by you. That's really important here. You need to hear what they have to say. You need to let them complete what they have to say before you respond. And you need to overcome your desire to be rude and arrogant and unfiltered and aggressive towards them, and actually calm down. Calm down. Take a breath. Be calm and quiet within you, and work through. I'm not saying that it's not okay to. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be angry. Anger is a very valid emotion, but what's not okay is to project that anger onto somebody else. You need to take. If you feel angry about something that someone's done or said, process that anger in your own time, in your own way, and come back and communicate to that person once you feel calm. All right, I'm going to take the Voyager deck now. I feel that's it for the general reading. I could probably keep talking there, but I want to see what the Voyager deck has to say about this energy. The Voyager deck is, the hierarchy spread is designed to give a little bit more insight into what's happening on a karmic and spiritual level, and hopefully will provide insight into how to work with the energies that we're facing to make the most out of the opportunities that we have with the situations that we're in. So tune in with me again while I shuffle. Send your energy into the deck. And that way messages will come through that are really specific and tailored for you. There's the Death card again, in reverse, this time at the center of your reading. So this is really a big one for you. Crossed by the Sun. Interesting. Woman of Cups in reverse. Strength. Six of Worlds in reverse. Three of Cups in reverse. There's the Three of Cups there. Ten of Worlds. Child of Wands. Ten of Crystals. Five of Cups. Six of Cups. Eight of Wands, which is you had here. Child of Cups. And Sage of Crystals. Okay. Alright, what do we have here? There's the Ten of Pentacles again. This is the card that you had in the crowning position of your reading. This was describing a potential separation or a temporary break, taking space. Here in this position of the reading, I feel that what it's describing here is your desire to have, wholeness and community and connection and family. Also abundance. The Ten of Worlds is called reward in this deck. It is the earth energy, Pentacles. But here with the Sage of Crystals, I feel, and the strength here at the foundation, and there's the two child cups here, which are the pages, Page of Cups and Page of Wands. I feel with all these foundational cards here that basically this is kind of describing that there is a sort of like, I feel for some people there is a connection here to early childhood with these two page cards here, and there's like an energy here of you needing to understand and integrate experiences from your childhood that may be generating these kinds of like experiences where there is this kind of tension playing out with people, where there is like jagged friction in communication, an inability to communicate combined with an inability to listen. Like these could all be behaviors and habits and things that we learned in early childhood that you may or may not be aware that you need to uncover or realize that is affecting the way that you respond and behave in tense situations or in any kind of like circumstances where there is a need for compromising, or whenever there is a need for conversations that may be difficult or tense, or in some ways even frightening to kind of share things that are very difficult to express. There's definitely a feeling here of there being some early childhood learned behaviors that you may be needing to become aware of in order to break that unconscious habit and evolve past learned behaviors that are insignificant. Actually, this is kind of immature energy that you may be have learned from your parents or from your childhood that you may not have outgrown yet. And there is a real opportunity here for you to evolve and develop better communication skills. Fundamentally, this is about communication skills. And in doing so, as much as it may be difficult, like it can be really difficult to have, those kind of uncomfortable conversations, but they're a part of life. And the more willing you are to practice being in those difficult conversations, you'll find that you actually get better at it, and it becomes easier, and it becomes less of a giant mountain to climb that's very intimidating, and more of just a fundamental, matter-of-fact situation that you find yourself in from time to time, where you need to express certain things. And the more often you do it without, building it up to be some kind of unnecessary challenge, it's just simply a fact of life. You need to communicate about things in a clear and calm way. The more often you practice it, the better you get at it, and the easier it becomes. And so these kind of situations don't need to become as out of control as they are if you handle things in the early phases and learn how to communicate clearly and unemotionally about your experience to another person in a way that can help create understanding and resolve issues before they become gigantic, problematic, critical experiences that hurt and affect and impact more people than maybe just you and that person. So learning to evolve past the unwillingness to communicate, learning to become a little bit more mature in your willingness to face difficult conversations and have uncomfortable communication with people in order to, identify and acknowledge and evolve and resolve past points of tension and friction. Being willing to hear another person's experience that they may be having as a result of your actions and behavior, and be willing to make changes when it's necessary, when it's valid, when it's real. And learning to pull back from your unconscious projection of your emotions and your attitudes onto another person, and take responsibility for your experience and be honest and real about that. And ultimately, all these cup cards here in the reading, there's 4 of them here, 5, is just saying that, and they're all kind of like this reversals as well as upright. But basically, what this is saying here to me is that in developing this practice, it's part of a personal culture of practicing self-love, to be able to learn to communicate in ways that are more evolved, and that involves mostly listening more than it does actually speaking. But what's available to you through that is real joy and happiness, actually, contentedness, and through that practice of unconditionally loving the self and learning how to be more willing to express things that are difficult and be more willing to listen to someone share what they need to tell you. That is a kind of opening to life that initiates and generates much greater quality of life for everyone, mostly yourself, but for all the people that you come in contact with. It's a type of compassion that is, well needed. And here, okay, so there's 10 of crystals and the 8 of wands. Again, this is telling me basically the same thing. Like the need for cultivating a practice of real, raw, honest, calm, compassionate, considerate communication is something that you really need to dedicate to learning and practicing. And in doing so, you'll be able to overcome, you'll be able to, it's not like overcoming, it's not even avoiding, but it's a way of engaging in life that will minimize experiences where you feel betrayed or stabbed in the back or feel lied to or cheated, or all those kind of experiences that come from there being a lack of honesty. You bringing that willingness to be more proactive and more practiced and more dedicated to real, honest and forthright communication from a place of owning your responsibility and being willing to kind of just be receptive and open to other people. It's going to, like I said, there's nothing else to say here other than your quality of life will improve. Your experiences across the board in all areas of life will improve. Most importantly, your relationships. Bottom of the deck, Child of Worlds. So now there's another page. There's 3 pages in your reading. Woman of Worlds, 2 of Wands, and the Chariot. 2 of Wands is reversed. So what I feel is here is more or less a summary of what I've just said. Again, like the pages are actually about communication, and all three of them are up right here. So this is another affirmation or indicator that this reading is primarily about you learning to communicate in a more evolved way, in a more heightened way, in a more conscious way. And as I said, a lot of what real communication needs for it to be heightened and evolved is the willingness to listen calmly and quietly until another person has finished saying what they have to say. And this One of Cups here feels connected to that Nine of Pentacles we had in the previous reading. It's about being grounded. It's about being graceful and having poise and dignity to be able to embody a type of self-love that enables communication to be a reciprocal event that enables everyone to experience respect and dignity and an ability to feel heard. Self-love is the key. And Two of Wands here with the Chariot is telling me that there is a need here for you to purify. Again, I feel like there's some baggage or like early life or past life experiences that need to be cleansed and purified out of your auric field so that you can stop repeating patterns or behaviors from the past that are actually perpetuating unhealthy dynamics with people or unsatisfying relationships. It's about you evolving past any kind of like victim behavior where like you are afraid to communicate or unable to communicate, and that energy then is kind of preventing other people from communicating because the energy is blocked. And Chariot here is telling me that this is a very important part of your emotional purification, I feel, with the Chariot. It's connected to the Cancerian sign here. But what I feel with this is that your process of learning to evolve into a better communicator is part of a purification from early childhood or past life experiences where there was some kind of trauma that prevented you from feeling able to express yourself for whatever reason, whatever that is. We all deal with that in some form. And the Chariot here is saying that this is a moment for you to really activate a determined energy to kind of channel your will into the journey of learning to evolve and develop communication skills that are more heightened, that are more conscious, and that are more evolved in general, I would say. Okay, I think that's it for your reading. Let me just check over here, Scorpio. There is these two, as I said, there's 4 cup cards here, 3, 5, and 6, as well as the Woman of Cups. Again, just a reminder that this is an emotional purging that's happening. It's an emotional purification. Again, this crossing card at the center of the reading is Death with the Sun. So what's waiting for you on the other side of this process is success and contentedness and happiness. So don't be afraid to actually look at all this stuff that's coming up. Certainly don't avoid it any longer, and be willing to actually own the responsibility of all the feelings that you're feeling, and stop waiting for someone else to do something that's going to make you feel better, because it's not going to happen. It's not how life works. Every person needs to take responsibility for the way they feel and the way they behave, and every person's experience is entirely their responsibility, and it's up to you to address the places where you feel maybe that someone else should do something, and understand that it's up to you to make the necessary changes. It's up to you to grow in awareness. It's up to you to start behaving with more maturity and break free of old patterns that are embedded, that may have been triggered by a specific situation right now, but is actually old stuff that's buried and needs your awareness to kind of purge and purify behavior that is long outdated. It never worked, actually. It was never effective. And you need to understand that if you keep trying to behave in the same ways, you're going to keep coming up against the same kind of issues, the same kind of trouble, the same kind of friction, the same kind of difficulties. So willingly grow, like willingly desire, like with your utter determination, be willing to address the things that are coming up and see where you can make changes, and see how you need to shift and grow and change, and how to cultivate greater self-esteem, self-love, self-confidence, self-respect, so that you can shift out of behaviors that have been, in a way, kind of affirming the opposite of those things. It's up to you to change that. It's up to you to change that. All right, Scorpio, thank you so much for watching. That was not an easy reading to give. I'm sure that was not an easy reading to hear. I appreciate you making it through to the end. I would recommend that you do watch that again, actually, because there was a lot of information in there. I hope you find some things in there you can work with. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. Please do like, share, and comment. It really helps me to get shown up into recommended playlists for other people who are watching similar content on YouTube. I'm asking for your help and support to grow my channel and get me shown in front of more people. There's playlists on the screen now for all the Scorpio readings from months gone by, and there's also the playlist for all the readings for August. Feel free to click on any of those that jump out at you. Let your intuition guide you, and you'll find treasures of guidance in there for you to work with as well. So, yep, that's me signing out. We'll see you in the next reading.